you see a need, especially in this area of web development, kind of on the front end and the back end, and you're looking at either implementing or have already implemented some of the CIW certifications within your training, talk to us about your experience so far, or some of the service members, their experience with JavaScript specialists.
Most of the students that attend our program are active duty or Army reservist or Air Force reservist. And a lot of them have, you know, learned a little bit about JavaScript while they were in high school. So they kind of know a little bit about it, but they're far removed. Like there's a big gap there because, you know, going from high school right into the military, maybe they're a mechanic, and so they're not using those skills in the military, or maybe they're a cook. Um, and so the folks that are currently going through our classes, they're actually being exposed to actual hands-on learning. For example, what we've heard the about the current programs with CIW, a lot of the students are really loving to do the labs because they're actually understanding syntax, and all those things that come with, the JavaScript language, like classes and variables and booleans and so forth. So they're really getting a lot out of it. I'd like to add the way the military works. So these folks, we get these folks about a year out or close to their 6 month window. Because the course is is on demand, those students are able to, or those service members are able to do the training based on their own timeline, if that makes any sense. So even if they're in the field or out doing maneuvers, or maybe they're deployed, the military does allow them to extend, the program up to a year or 30 days before they actually exit the service. What we've been doing is we take the person after they complete the course with 100% completion rate. We put them into a boot camp program while they're still in the military. So we do special paperwork to get them released from their units, and they're online, and they're doing like a 10-week program. So this is where they actually put those skills into play. So even if they don't have enough experience through the course, that boot camp program really enhances their skills, and they're able to actually build websites. And then from there, we connect them with employers. The employers come in, they start asking them questions. Employers also give us feedback about, what they're really looking for in our graduates. And the one thing that the employer is actually looking for, besides them learning how to script in Java or JavaScript, the employer is looking for, that customer service, that customer support type experience. So we've actually added that to our bootcamp program.
What would be your encouragement to someone who's a year out, has not considered, kind of someone who was in your shoes, 7-8 years ago? Don't know what I want to do, don't really have a plan, but I know my time is coming to an end and I'm transitioning out. What would you tell them?
The one thing that I would tell them is research, research, and research. As you're an infantry person in the military, don't think that the only job for you is either a police officer or security guard. And if you're a cook, don't think that the only job for you is a cook. We've had cooks, we've had mechanics, we have our combat armed military folks that have gone through our program, and now they're in IT. What I would also say is take a look at the 16 industry clusters. When I left the service back in 2014, they didn't explain those clusters. It's important to understand the clusters and how they relate to, you know, the economic engine of the U.S. and not just the U.S. but, you know, the world. We know for a fact, you know, when you're looking at working in the coal mines, it's a dead end. It's dead. The industry is dead. You know, we know that, you know, the world is growing and expanding into technology that's leading into different energy sectors. But most importantly, you know, you have your medical benefits. You know, you have your life insurance policy at a dirt cheap cost. You know, and you've got that, you know, you get compensated if you get injured in the military. You're compensated on the other side of, you know, once you leave the service. You don't get that in the civilian world. It's tough. And you know, the military is kind of a social project. And you know, when people leave the military, you know, there's nobody there to hold your hand. So you got to start making that decision and start looking into those career industries that will last even during a recession. And you know what? We saw that IT is the future. So the jobs are definitely there in IT. You don't need a 4-year degree. You just need to learn some scripting languages. And so, you know, not to put CIW on a pedestal, but you know, there are great programs in the CIW certification. We plan on hiring 300 veterans for 2023. And we are working on a Department of Labor registered apprenticeship program. This is a national program. It is paid on the job learning. It is 2,000 hours, so it's 1 year. And you know, for any veterans that want to get into tech, this is definitely a program you want to be a part of. We're estimating first year's wages between 60 and 85K. So we're committed as a veteran company. We're committed to get as many veterans as we can as a small business um, uh, into upskilling into IT careers. And after this 1 year program, then the veteran would have a choice to stay on board. Their pay goes up to about 120K, or they can just, you know, take their skills and move on to employment into another company. I can give you two examples. We had a reservist out of New Jersey. He went through our program, no IT experience. He's a seabird guy. That's a chemical military occupation. So it has nothing to do with IT. He now makes $120,000 a year working for Bank of America as a DevOps person. We had another guy that went through our program. He's now an IBM mainframe for a company in Maryland. Believe it or not, he makes over $200,000 a year. So these companies really do want to hire veterans, and the reasoning for hiring veterans is that they show up to work on time, they're reliable, they're loyal, you know, all the things that, you know, all the soft skills that we have in the military. That's what employers are looking for. The missing key is an employer cannot hire you unless you have some hard skill. And that's why it's important to take advantage of these credentialing programs.
We appreciate your partnership. We appreciate what you're doing in the industry. Thank you that your passion is impacting and influencing others. And again, thank you for your service